So in the 1970s, Alejandro Jodorowsky got really high and was like, I'm gonna make Dune. I haven't even read the book, but I'm gonna make it anyway. And he's like, Orson Welles is gonna be the Baron, and Salvador Dali is gonna be the Emperor, and my son's gonna be Paul Atreides. It's gonna be 12 hours long. We're gonna have a burning giraffe. Pink Floyd's gonna make the music. None of it's gonna be like the book, and I don't care because I'm Alejandro Jodorowsky, and I'm gonna have a burning giraffe if I want to. So that movie failed, and everyone was like, oh, we're not gonna get Dune. Sucks. And then George Lucas came along and he was like, I want to make Dune too, but not really. So he made Star Wars. And then David Lynch came in and did his try, and we all know how David Lynch is. He's all about stirring your subconscious, but he also like makes whatever he's making like very much his thing. But then it's not his thing because like the movie studio came in and they were like, we want this, this, and that. And so what you get is just kind of like a mess. Like honestly, this movie is simultaneously one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen and like one of the ugliest. Everything Harkonnen in this movie is so ugly, but the Emperor's throne room and the look of the Bene Gesserit and the look of the Atreides is so like cool. But then the sandworms and all the desert stuff looks bad. So it's just like a mix of like good and bad, and then it's also like not the Dune story like at all. So yeah, a lot of people are really nostalgic about this one. I mean, it's okay. It's not really that good. Yeah. And then a bunch of years later, when the Sci-Fi Channel was still actually kind of cool, they were all like, we're going to make Dune 2, and we're going to just like, you know, do the book, basically. You know, we don't have that big of a budget, and like our costumes aren't that great, but we're just going to like basically just do what happened in the book and put it on screen. And it was actually a big hit for the Sci-Fi Channel, and it actually is still one of the more accurate portrayals of Dune. So I don't know if you're fine with like really ugly CGI and really, really, really ugly costumes, then yeah, check out the Dune miniseries. It's worth the watch for someone that's read the book and wants like a more accurate portrayal. And then that was such a big hit that they were like, we're gonna do Children of Dune and Dune Messiah, and they did it, and they got James McAvoy to play Leto Atreides II, which is like probably the best casting in the entire freaking sci-fi miniseries era period, because James McAvoy, even though he's way too old to actually play that character, just kills the role because he's such a big fan of the book. He killed it. He killed it. But yeah, the CGI is still pretty freaking bad. The costumes are a little bit better than the first one, but still kind of bad. But it's worth the watch if you like Children of Dune and Dune Messiah, and you want like an adaptation that you can look at right now, because who knows if Dune Messiah is going to happen on the big screen with Denis Villeneuve. Who knows if Children of Dune is ever going to happen at all. So for right now, this is the only one we got. And then next up, Denis Villeneuve, after reading Dune as a young kid and dreaming about the movie his whole life, and literally making Blade Runner 2049 just to prepare for Dune, finally releases his Dune movie, co-written by John Spates, who wrote the better parts of the movie Prometheus. Dune. For me, this is Dune. Now, you guys already know how much I love this movie. I did a whole 30-minute review talking about how much I loved this freaking movie. Denis Villeneuve is the best science fiction director that is putting out work right now. I just appreciate him so much, and I'm so excited for his adaptation of Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama. Now, the sci-fi miniseries, yeah, probably has more stuff from the book in it. This was a more streamlined interpretation of Dune, and we do know that a lot of scenes were cut. If you guys have the picture book from the movie, then you know there was like a Balisette scene cut, and there's a scene with Duck and Idaho in the desert. There were just a few things that were cut to streamline the movie a little bit more, and hopefully we can get an extended version of this in the future. So keep in mind, the sci-fi miniseries is like 5.5 hours long. This is like 2.5 hours long, and there's a second part coming. So I'm not too worried about like missing out on some of the finer details from the book, because if the second movie is as long as this one, at least, I think we'll basically be able to cover all the important themes from the Dune novel in Denis Villeneuve's movie, and he obviously cares about it a bunch. And then after that, a movie studio that like launders money or something was like, oh, Denis Villeneuve's Dune, his movie is coming out, and we got to put out our own shitty version of Dune. And so they came out with Planet of Dune. I watched this whole thing in a stream, so you could watch that if you want. I don't recommend it. This is a terrible movie, and it's a ripoff of Dune, and yeah. So there you have it. I have reviewed all of the movie versions of Dune. Obviously, Denis Villeneuve's Dune movie is my favorite. I even got the limited edition pain box version of it. This is actually kind of cheap, and I don't recommend it, honestly. It's just like a paper box. I mean, it's kind of cool, but like, whatever. It's also like really cheap feeling, so like I don't honestly recommend it, but whatever. If you come across it and it's cheap where you live, then pick it up. I love Dune. I love the Dune franchise. I love science fiction in general. I can't wait for the second part of the Dune movie to come out. My Arrakis, my Dune, motherfuckers. It's my Arrakis, my Dune. Anyway.